Ladies and gentlemen, this is TVP World. You're watching another edition of Military Mind, bringing you news from the front lines. I'm your host, Benjamin Lee. Russian forces launched more than 150 attack drones against Ukraine overnight on Sunday. According to the Ukrainian Air Force, drone strikes were recorded at 15 locations, along with numerous incidents of falling debris from intercepted drones. In Kharkiv, authorities reported 4 people killed following a Russian drone strike. According to Ukraine's State Emergency Service, the attack caused significant destruction to buildings and triggered several fires. In the south, in Odessa, Russian drones targeted port infrastructure overnight, igniting a fire on board one of the vessels. Meanwhile, Ukrainian drones struck a chemical plant and an electrical substation in occupied Crimea. The substation is one of the key nodes in the peninsula's energy network. The Russian-installed authorities in Crimea did not report the impacts. Earlier on Sunday, though, explosions and air defense activity were heard across Crimea, including in Sevastopol. Local media also reported that in Novorossiysk and Anapa, several explosions were heard again, with residents saying the blast came from the direction of the Black Sea. The power plant in the Moscow region, one of the oldest power plants in Russia, was also destroyed in a nighttime attack by Ukrainian drones. On the front line, Ukrainian defenders continue to hold positions in the center of Pokrovsk and have cleared Russian groups from the area around the city's railway station. According to military analysts, Russian forces have been unable to gain a foothold. Ukraine's defense forces are restraining assault attempts and conducting search and strike operations to eliminate Russian troops inside the city. Assault units working jointly with other Ukrainian formations remain engaged in clearing Russian groups from central Pokrovsk. Now, moving to another ongoing conflict in the Middle East. Israel has announced the killing of a senior Hezbollah military commander in an airstrike on the southern suburbs of Beirut this past weekend. The strike was carried out despite a US-brokered ceasefire that has been in place for a year. In a statement published shortly after the strike, the Israeli military said the target was one of the 2 top commanders of Hezbollah's military wing and the head of its operations staff. After the strike, Israel insisted it, quote, remains committed to upholding the ceasefire agreement. Now, this was the first Israeli strike on Beirut in months. The ceasefire was originally reached following a major escalation between Hezbollah and Israel in 2023 to 2024. Ukrainian kamikaze drone operators have carried out one of the most high-profile missions in recent weeks, striking key elements of Russian air defense in occupied Crimea. The operation unfolded under intense fire from Russian defense systems. The drone had to dodge incoming missiles from the Pantsir S-1 anti-aircraft systems as it approached its final target. Despite the heavy countermeasures, Ukrainian operators maintained control and completed the mission. The series of precise strikes hit radars and aviation equipment, significantly blinding Russia's civilian system over the peninsula and weakening its ability to respond to future attacks. On the outskirts of the village of Makiivka in the Kharkiv region, assault units from the Ukrainian 3rd Army Corps are continuing operations that remain largely unnoticed by the public, but are critical for stabilizing the defensive lines. This operation, which took place sometime in September, involves strike and search missions in areas where Russians are trying to use abandoned houses, farms, and outbuildings as hidden observation posts or arrest points for infantry groups. Scouts are moving methodically, checking yard by yard, street by street, and cross-verifying each find with intelligence reports and aerial surveillance.
Тут хтось живе. Тут розвішені шмотки. Візьміть, будь ласка, підвал. Тут є ознаки цивільних, але цивільних поки що не бачу. Як прийняли? Тут також.
Кода. Може отак. Так. Бажаю здоров'я вам, хлопці. Дай Бог,
Вітаю.
щоб було у вас все добре.
Добре, дякую.
Є хтось. Є потреба, Тейвас. Є хтось, є потреба. Є хтось, запитую ще раз. Падай чисто.
Тут бліндаж. В дворі. Вскинутим не йде, щоб, якщо там засіки, щоб їх не напагати. Дай перший сюди.
Плюс.
Є хто?
Ні. Мужики, я спускаюся, я свій.
In the Zaporizhia region, south of the village of Mala Tokmachka, Ukrainian defenders have successfully repelled another enemy attempt to break through using a mechanized group. Russian forces launched assault with heavy equipment, aiming for a swift advance under armored cover. But the offensive ended in complete failure. Just minutes after the column reached the attack line, Ukrainian operators deployed strike drones. Their work was precise. 8 enemy vehicles were destroyed, including several T-72B3M tanks and MTLB-based combat vehicles that were meant to transport assault groups to Ukrainian positions. In the area near Slobozhensk, Ukrainian border guards drones operators from the Furia unit of the GERT brigade continue to knock out enemy equipment with logistics and surgical precision. Now, the latest series of strikes served as another painful reminder to the occupiers that their every move in the frontline zone is under scrutiny. In just a few hours of work, the operators inflicted comprehensive damage on several critical targets at once. And with that footage, we conclude this edition of Military Mind. But for more news, update, and commentary, please stay tuned to TVP World.